Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a little bit different kind of video tonight. I'm going to tell you all a little bit about how crazy my life has been over the last 7 days. I had a lot of things pop up that I wasn't expecting, and it got very scary there for a couple of days. So I'm going to take you through a real quick rundown of what happened to me. I know some friends and family have been wondering about what's going on. So those of you out there who are fans of the show are wondering about what's been going on. So I'm just going to lay the whole thing out for you guys, tell you what's happened, and hopefully maybe save some of you from going through what I went through if you have this same problem. So Thursday last week, June 2nd, I was at work. I started developing a little bit of soreness in my left leg around the calf area. It's not too uncommon for me to get soreness in different parts of my body, especially my left leg. I injured it back in December, and that kind of stuff comes back every now and then. So I not only had that, though, I started noticing that I was getting shortness of breath doing tasks that in the past didn't usually make me lose my breath, like walking up one flight of stairs. That didn't used to, I didn't used to breathe heavy when I got to the top of the stairs, but in this case I was. So didn't really think much of it. Finished my work day out, went home that night, took some drugs like I normally do to, pain meds, and had a good night's sleep, hoping that I'd wake up in the morning and all that would go away, because that had happened in the past, and I had, taken some medicine, got a good night's sleep, and I was fine in the morning. So woke up Friday. I had to work Friday. Still had soreness in my left leg again. Still had shortness of breath doing very simple tasks like walking on level ground from my house to my car. Notice I sit down in the car and I'm breathing heavy, and I'm like, what is going on? Why am I having a hard time breathing? So I went to work that day and pushed through it, and went home that evening. Once again, took some medicine, got a good night's sleep, and because I had to work the next day as well on Saturday. So on Saturday the 4th, I woke up again. The medicine didn't do the trick this time. The sleep didn't do the trick this time. I still had a sore leg. I still had shortness of breath, but I had to work, so I went to work. My job is very sedentary most of the time. 90% of my day I'm sitting at a desk, working at a computer, and that actually led to what happened here. So we'll get to that later. So Saturday, I went to work, did my job, went home, and told my wife, I said, man, this is 3 days in a row that this has been going on, and this shortness of breath thing's kind of new. I'm going to take some drugs and get a good night's sleep, but if this thing isn't gone in the morning, I'm going to have to go see a doctor and see what's going on here, get some tests run or something. So Sunday morning I woke up, sure enough, pain in the leg, shortness of breath. I said, all right, I got to go. I got to go to a hospital and get them to check me out and see what's going on. So went to the local hospital, checked in around 9 a.m., and as soon as I told the entry nurse who accepts you into the hospital what my symptoms were, he said, it sounds like you got blood clots. So I said, all right, well, we'll have to see. So they took me back to the ICU, introduced me to a couple of doctors, a couple of people working in the ICU. They said the same thing. Your symptoms sound like you have blood clots. So we're going to put you in for an ultrasound of your leg to see if you have any blockage, and we're also going to check your chest. So right now I'm going to play a quick video that talks about what a PE is, which is a pulmonary embolism, and DVT, which is deep vein thrombosis. So we're going to watch a quick little 3-minute video. I'll pause it throughout the video and explain everything that relates to my situation in this video, and then I'll finish the story after that. So there's a quick little video that tells this story way better than I could as far as what these two diagnoses are. So here we go.
A pulmonary embolism is a blood clot in the veins of the lung. It is one of the most dangerous types of venous thromboembolism, which is the general term for when blood clots form in veins. Pulmonary embolism occurs when a small blood clot, or embolus, breaks off from a larger clot, or thrombus, and travels to the lung.
All right, so before we travel to the lung, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I was having pain in my left leg. This is exactly what was going on in my left leg. I had a massive blockage in my left leg that was stopping the blood flow to my calf, and that's why it was sore. That's why it was hurting. I had no clue, but that's what the symptoms were.
Where it can cause a potentially life-threatening blockage. Symptoms include chest pain, shortness of breath, heart palpitations, coughing up blood, fainting, and in severe cases, signs of shock and low blood pressure.
All right, so the only one of these that I was actually experiencing was shortness of breath. The low blood pressure part of it, I'm not sure if because I'm an overweight man that my blood pressure was already high, and as it started to come down as a result of these symptoms, I just thought, hey, I'm healthy, and my blood pressure's coming down. I'm doing some right things because I actually did go on a diet back in February, and I've lost a lot of weight. So, anyway, back into it. Here we go.
These symptoms are caused by damage to the lungs, which also affects the heart, the right ventricle in particular. The right side of the heart pumps blood to the lungs and is thinner and weaker than the left. When a pulmonary embolism blocks the blood vessels of the lung, there's a sudden increase in pressure in the pulmonary artery. This increases the afterload of the right ventricle, which is the pressure the heart must work against to pump blood.
All right, so I told you I got an ultrasound. They found a blockage in my leg, pretty good sized blockage. Then they did a CT scan of my chest and found that not only did I have blockages in my lungs, I had it on both sides of my lungs. And at the end of this little video, I'm going to show you a photo of the blockages, where they were, and what they took out of me during surgery. So stay tuned for that.
As a result, in some patients, the right ventricle has to work harder to keep pumping blood. But after a certain threshold, it fails. This disrupts blood flow to vital organs, leading to death, a process known as hemodynamic collapse. Individuals at increased risk of pulmonary embolism include older people, those with pneumonia, those undergoing surgery and long hospital stays, people who have major bone fractures with trauma, and people who are immobilized for long periods. Other medical conditions can also be a risk factor, such as genetic diseases of the coagulation cascade, sickle cell disease, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
All right, so of all of these risk factors that put you at risk for getting these pulmonary edemas, I'm really not old age yet. I'm 47, so I'm knocking on 50. It doesn't mean I'm young, but I don't feel like I'm old either. However, one of the things that's not listed here is obesity. Obesity is a contributing factor to getting this, and I'm definitely considered obese based on my weight. The big one for those of us who work in offices all the time is the immobility down here. If you work a job that's 8 to 10 hours a day and you're immobile all day sitting at a desk with your legs having pressure from the seat on the back of your legs, you're causing pinch points in your veins where these type of clogs can form in the actual backs of your legs where the veins are being pinched from the weight of your body sitting in your chair. So if you take nothing out of this video, if you're the type of person who has a sit-down job all day, you've got to take times throughout the day just to stand up, stretch your legs, let that blood flow so that you don't have clots forming up. I feel like that may have been a major contributing factor along with the obesity for me, was that my current job has me sitting for long periods of time. On the other side of the scale here, it talks about diseases of the coagulation cascade. I'm currently going to be put into a research study with a blood group here in Knoxville that's going to be checking my blood to find out if I have a genetic blood coagulation issue, that my blood actually coagulates too quickly, that kind of thing. So I'm entered into that as of this whole experience. So I don't have sickle cell, and as far as I know, I don't have COPD. Here we go.
There are a number of treatments available for pulmonary embolism, including antithrombotic treatment with drugs, such as direct oral anticoagulants, vitamin K antagonists, and low molecular weight heparin.
All right, I was on heparin the whole time I was in the hospital, and they've put me on a direct oral anticoagulant now that I have to be on for the rest of my life. So I now have one of those medicines that I'll be taking until I die. So as a result of what happened this week. So what they don't show here is surgery. Obviously, I had surgery as well. Let me see.
There are also medical procedures, such as reperfusion therapy, to restore blood flow to the blocked vessels.
What they don't show here is I had the laparoscopic surgery where they go in through your legs and they work their way up through past the heart and into the lungs, and they work their way through your veins with tools and snakes, that kind of thing, that work their way through the system and clean out the clots. That's what I had done. 2 surgeries this week for that.
Despite these treatments, up to 1 in 10 patients will die of venous thromboembolism within 1 year.
All right, so even though I've been treated, I still have a 10% risk that this could still kill me in the next year. So scary, I know. But I'm going to do everything I can as far as exercise, eat right, take all the right meds, do what the doctors tell me to do to make sure that I lessen that risk as much as possible. This next part talks about recurrence of having to go back again.
And at least 1 in 5 patients will have recurrence within 5 years.
So 20% chance that I'll be back in the hospital dealing with this in the next 5 years. That's kind of scary as well.
Their venous thromboembolism developed without a clear cause, so-called idiopathic thromboembolism.
And that's why I'm in the research study that's going to be looking at my blood to see if I have some sort of genetic problem that's causing my blood to coagulate faster than it should.
Patients who survive can develop post-pulmonary embolism syndrome, a poorly understood condition characterized by exercise intolerance, shortness of breath, and a reduction in quality of life.
I'm not sure how much this may affect me right now. I do know I'm walking like this guy right now, but I did just get out of surgery this week. So once I hope what's going to happen is my medicine will start doing what it's supposed to do. My physical therapy is going to start doing what it's supposed to do, and I'll be able to move around really well. And I'll be able to have a good quality of life for the rest of my life. So I hope I don't fall into the pulmonary embolism syndrome.
As research continues, a better understanding of pulmonary embolism and improved treatment should lead to better chances of survival and a better quality of life for those with this condition.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I found it very educational myself after the fact. I mean, golly, if I could have showed myself this 10 years ago and started to make some changes, just minor changes, I might have stopped myself from getting as far along as I have. So I'm going to show you now what was taken out of my lungs. And I'll tell you, this is not common. I can tell it's not common because of the amount of doctors that came to visit me to talk about how much stuff was taken out of my lungs. So right down here is a picture of a piece of paper with a map of the lungs. And what's laying on top of that map are all of the clots that they removed from my lungs on Sunday when they rushed me into surgery. I checked in at 9 in the morning and I was in surgery 5 hours later. So that was surgery number 1. They pulled all those clots out of my lungs. The following day, let's see, what day was that? Monday, I had a second ultrasound of my good leg, which turned out negative. And then I had leg surgery. They went through the back of my leg and got all the stuff that they'd found on the initial ultrasound out of my left leg, which was good. Now all the major clots had been removed from my body. I still had some minor clots that are going to be there because they can't get down to that small level. But hopefully the blood thinners can help work on that along with the white blood cells in my body. So that's where I'm at right now as far as recovery goes. After that day, I got transferred down to the out of the ICU to the regular hospital rooms. Had kind of a breakdown in communication between the ICU and the ward I was getting transferred to. Resulted in my getting left alone in the room when I arrived. I went to the restroom, and when I came back to my bed, I got dizzy and I fell down and actually cracked open my head a little bit. And you guys can probably see these scars on my nose and face, that kind of stuff. That was from me passing out a couple hours after my surgery when I was left alone in my room. Never should have happened, but is what it is. They sent me off for a CAT scan to make sure I didn't have a concussion and didn't have any bleeding in my brain, especially since I was on blood thinners. So that was that. So both surgeries done. I'm now down in the regular hospital area, and I just needed to have a couple of days of rest after that. So Tuesday was a day of rest all day. Had a bunch of people coming in, taking blood, taking all my vitals, making sure everything was going good as far as recovery goes. And then today is Wednesday the 8th, and they released me this morning. Actually, this afternoon around 12:30, I got released. So I'm home now. I got a good, I got my prescription picked up. I've had some good food. I took a nap earlier in a very comfortable bed. Those hospital beds were horrible. And now I'm working on recovery. I'm working on some physical therapy. I'm working on getting returned back to work. And I'm definitely going to be making some changes to my routine, day-to-day activities at work so that I'm not sitting for so long, making sure I incorporate more and more walking and standing to my daily routine. So if you ever experience these type of symptoms, don't wait. If shortness of breath comes on suddenly, go see a doctor. If you start to develop swelling in your legs and pain in your legs, go see a doctor, get checked out. As you saw in this video, it's very dangerous. I very likely could have died, and who knows, this may still get me in the long run. I've got a 90% chance to be okay going forward, and I hope that 10% don't get me. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. I appreciate all of you who cared about me, those of you who sent your well wishes and told me that you hope that I get better soon. Thank you to all of you. My poor wife has been going through hell, worrying about me through this whole thing. I love her very much. Today is actually our anniversary. So she had to check me out of the hospital on our anniversary. But I got a big thing planned for her to celebrate our anniversary, and we're going to do it right and make things right down the road. So Cindy, I love you. I'm sorry I'm putting you through all this scariness. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we live long lives together and beat this thing over the head. So thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you stopping by. And don't forget to come on back.